Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. If you're new to this channel, my name is Ariana and I am currently a school psychology graduate student. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys what I will call my academic journey. I had someone request this video in one of my previous videos, and so that is what I chose to do for you guys this week. So if you're interested in hearing how I ended up in a school psychology program, then keep on watching. So this is kind of going to be like a story time. I will start telling you guys everything from when I graduated high school until I got to my current graduate program, and just share with you guys like what choices I made or like what path I took and things like that. So right after high school, I had no idea what school psychology was. I had never heard about the field. My original plans were to work in the medical field, and I wanted to become a sonographer. And for those who don't know, that is someone who works like in a hospital or an imaging center, and they do the ultrasounds on people. So for example, when somebody's pregnant, they do the ultrasound. They also do like ultrasounds of the heart and ultrasounds of the abdomen, and whatever it is that needs an ultrasound, then that's the person that does them. And so that was my goal originally. And so I went to a community college that had this program. But in order to become a sonographer, you had to become an x-ray technician first. So be the person that takes x-rays. So I had to go through that program in order to go to the other program that was like my main goal. And so I hurried and took all the prerequisites that you needed in order to get accepted into the x-ray program, but there was a wait list. And so I got on there ASAP because the wait list would go in order. So it wasn't like lottery or anything like that. So if you were like number 30, then they would go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I believe at that time they were taking only like 20 people at the time. And so that was 20 people every year. And so it was taking quite a while. And so I took all my prerequisites, I got on the waiting list, and then I continued to take courses in case I ever decided to transfer out to a CSU or a UC. And so I waited for quite some time that I ended up deciding that I wanted to transfer out and that I no longer wanted to become a sonographer. And the year that I got accepted to a CSU, I also got accepted into the x-ray program. And so then I was like, oh my gosh, like what do I do? Do I want to take the risk of just transferring out, or do I want to continue chasing my original goal, I guess you could say? And after doing like pros and cons, I decided that I was just gonna transfer out. And the reason that I transferred out was because when I was taking some courses to transfer out to a CSU, I took a couple of psychology courses, and then that's when I discovered the psychology field, and I was very intrigued by it, and especially when we talked about children and the way that they think and the way that they're developing throughout the stages in their life. And so that became a big interest for me, and so I decided that I wanted to transfer out to a CSU. However, I didn't want to get a BA in psychology because I know that it's kind of difficult to really find a job with just a BA in psychology. Like usually you have to get a master's or a doctorate to really be able to do anything with that degree. And so because I realized that the population that I wanted to work with was children, I ended up transferring to a CSU and getting my bachelor's in child development. And I knew that I didn't want to be a teacher. And so for undergrad in child development, there's 3 different tracks, at least at the school that I went to. So there was early childhood, there was middle childhood, and then there were services. And the early childhood would be like if you wanted to be a preschool teacher. The middle childhood would be if you wanted to be an elementary teacher. And services was more like if you wanted to become a social worker eventually. So I went with that track because I knew that I didn't want to be a teacher. I wanted to help children, but not in that way. And so I got my bachelor's in child development in the services track. And then right when I graduated, I still wasn't sure what I wanted to get my master's in. And so I didn't apply to any graduate programs at that time. And I ended up getting a job right after graduation at this nonprofit organization and as a student assistant specialist. And what I did was I would get placed at an elementary school and I would provide social skills to students, so like prevention and intervention services. And it would be up to 8 weeks. So how it worked was a teacher would refer a student to me if they noticed that the student was struggling, and I would work with them for 8 weeks depending on what it seemed like the problem was. So maybe like anger management or anxiety or family problems. So I would work with them. If I felt like they needed extra help and more intense help, then I would then refer them to the school counselor. And so it was kind of like a process that we would do. And I did that for 2 years. And through my time there, I started to realize, like, you know what, I think I might want to be a school counselor because I enjoyed what I did. I just couldn't do more because I didn't have a master's degree or anything like that. And so I started to think, you know what, I think I want to be a school counselor. And so I applied to a school counseling program and I got accepted. And I decided not to do it because I was still not 100% sure. And I didn't want to commit to something if I was not 100% sure, right? And so I didn't do it. I kept kind of like trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do. And eventually I came across the school psychologist at the elementary school that I was placed at. And then I got to see what she would do on like a daily basis and kind of compare the differences between a school counselor and a school psychologist. And that's when I realized, like, that is what I want to do. Like, school psychology is exactly what I was looking for. And I know myself and I know my personality, and I felt like school psychology was a better fit for me. And as weird as this may sound, I love paperwork and I love writing, and I know that school psychology requires a lot of report writing and it's a lot of that kind of stuff. And so in a way, that's kind of a factor that played in like my decision of, you know, choosing school psychology. I'm not saying that I will never get tired of report writing and, you know, that I'm always going to enjoy it, but I do enjoy it. And I think that that's not something that was a negative for me. And so anyways, so I ended up deciding, okay, I want to be a school psychologist. And so I didn't apply to any programs right away. I kind of did my research and I kind of wanted to make sure that I was 100% sure, right? And so eventually I did. And I applied for that program, for the school psychology program, as well as a master's in child development. And so the story to that is that one of my professors from undergrad reached out to me and encouraged me to apply to their master's program. And for some reason, I was like, okay, considering it, even though there was not really anything that I was like, this is what's gonna get me to my next goal in life. I love child development, and I think that it has helped me so much in my life, and especially in the field of work that I'm planning to enter soon. But I applied, I got accepted, and so then I was accepted to 2 programs, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? Even though I already knew in my heart, like, school psychology was for me, just because I had this other program, I was kind of like in between. So then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna stick to school psychology because I know in my heart that that is what I'm supposed to do. And so, yeah, so then I got into the program and I started this past August, so in August 2019, and I've been there ever since. And so far, I like it. It's a lot of work and it's a little intense, but again, I try to look at it like where I'm gonna be in the long run. I don't try to dwell on like how much work it is and how hard it is, you know, because eventually those 3 years are still gonna pass. So why waste them doing nothing when you can just take advantage and accomplish something in life, right? And so at one point in my life, when I graduated from my CSU undergrad program, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do graduate school. Like, that's 3 more years. Like, no, that's a lot of time. Like, you know, but then I thought, I'm still gonna waste those 3 years. So, you know, why not? But like I said, I wanted to be 100% sure that I went with something that I knew I was gonna love, because, you know, I don't want to say I've known people. I know someone who, they got their master's in school counseling, and then after the first year they were like, no, this isn't for me, and then they went back to school to become a nurse, you know. And so that story has always stuck with me, because I was like, you know what, I don't want to be that person. So yeah, so for you guys that are maybe looking into going to grad school, just be 100% sure that the program that you choose is gonna be for you, and that you're really, really, really sure that you're gonna love it and be committed to it, because it is a lot of money, it is a lot of work, it is a lot of time that you're gonna be putting into it. And so just be sure, and if you're sure, then it's gonna be worth it, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is. Just stick to it, and you guys will get through it, and then you're gonna be on the other side like, oh my gosh, it went by so fast. So I've been in grad school for like 5 months, and it's gone by fast. Like, it's only 5 months, but it's gone by fast. I'm gonna start practicum next school year already, and then after that's my internship. And you know, I spoke to one of the grad students that is currently in her internship, and she was saying how fast it went. She's like, I remember when I started and I thought like, oh my gosh, it's gonna take forever. And now she's in her internship, and she's like, yeah, it's like so fast. She's like, I don't even know if I'm ready. But again, I don't even know if we ever think we're ready until we actually, you know, step out and start doing things. But that's another story. Anyways, I feel like I'm blabbing a lot, but yeah, that is pretty much like my journey, I guess you could say. So, you know, originally I was gonna go into the medical field because 1, job security, 2, I thought that's what I wanted to do. But then, you know, taking courses and learning about psychology, that opened like a whole new world for me. And then I knew that I wanted to work with children, and then the wait list was way too long, so it gave me time to think and really realize like, oh my gosh, that's not what I want to do. So in a way, I'm thankful that that wait list was there, because it allowed me to discover other stuff, you know. So then I transferred to my CSU. I got my bachelor's in child development with the track and services. And then I didn't go to grad school right after. I started working, and that's when I discovered school counseling and school psychology. And then I was kind of in between, but you know, my personality, I would say I'm somewhat of an introvert. And so I feel like school psychology would be a lot better for me in that sense, like if I look at it in that way, because school counselors, I feel like they're more out there, and they're just more like extroverts, and I'm not an extrovert. But not saying that if you're an extrovert you can't do psychology, or that if you're an introvert you can't do school counseling, but that's just like, if I see it in that way, I feel like school psychology fits me better. And then like the report writing and all of that, and just realizing how many children who have disabilities or maybe need extra help are not getting it. And, you know, knowing that if I can be that person to kind of put them where they should be in order to really be successful in school, then that's what I want to do. And so school psychology is just, you know, for me. So yeah, and so now I'm in my program and I'm loving it, you know, and I'm so excited for what's to come. And so yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Like I said, it's kind of like a story time, just me talking and talking. So if you are still watching and didn't just like click off, thank you. You're the real MVP. But yeah, so I will end it here. And if you guys have any suggestions on other videos, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. Like this video if you enjoyed it. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.